Greetings, math fans. All right, so today we are starting chapter 8b, and basically it's using all the information that we've learned already, except now what we're going to do is we're going to just combine some stuff together. Okay, so the first part of this note sheet is basically just a warm up of some reviewing some of the stuff we've done already. So it's basically the three different kinds of factoring. If you guys remember, we have greatest common factor, which is to me the most important one. We have difference of two squares, and then we have trinomials. Okay, so let's just kind of review some of this stuff here. Number one, it's x to the sixth minus 16. Remember, we basically take half of that 6, so half of that, or divide it by 2, and you get 3. So it's a difference of two squares. It's a perfect square. Any even power, you just do this. You divide it by 2, but it's why it's a perfect square. So basically it's x cubed, plus or minus, and the square root of 16 is 4 and 4. And that's your answer. Okay? This next one, greatest common factor is 5x, and 5x. So you say 5x and then parentheses, you divide each one of those and you get x squared plus 2x plus 4. Okay, pretty easy so far. This one is a trinomial. So we get x and x. Remember, it adds or multiplies to give you a positive, so they have to be the same sign. And since it's negative here, it's minus minus. And 1 multiplies to give you 6. Well, 6 and 1, but 6 plus 1 is not 5. But 2 and 3, 2 plus 3 is 5. So it's 2 and 3. Okay. This one's a pretty easy one. It's a difference of two squares. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of x squared is x. So 2x and 2x. Plus and minus. Square root of 81 is 9. And that's your answer. Okay. Another trinomial. So we're going to get x and x. And this has to be a positive. So it's plus plus because it either is plus plus or minus minus. But because this is plus, we know they're both positive. It's basically 3 and 10 because 3 plus 10 is 13. So we're done. This is definitely greatest common factor, so a 2 goes into both of those. Remember, you always look for the smallest exponent for x and for y, so it's x squared, and the smallest y is y squared. Okay, so we have 2x squared, y squared, and then you put your parentheses out there and you divide this out. That gives you 2 x squared, the y squareds cancel, and then it's plus 3, the x squareds cancel, and it's y cubed. Y to the 5th over y squared is y cubed. And that's your answer. Okay? This next one, you should look at it and go, difference of two squares? Oh, wait a second. It's a plus sign. It needs to be a minus. So you can't factor. Okay? If it was a minus, you could. You would say 5x plus 6 and 5x minus 6. But that one you can't factor. Okay, so it's x and x. It's a minus, so it's plus and minus. So you basically are picking two numbers that subtract to give you 5, but multiply to give you 24. And the possibilities for this one are actually 8 and 3. 8 times 3 is 24. So 8 minus 3 is 5, which is what we're looking for. Okay. And so, but of course, because it's negative, the 8, right, the bigger number is negative. So it's 8 and 3. All right, not bad. So the notes today are basically, we're going to combine. So what you always want to do first, math fans, is greatest common factor. You need to look at that. Every single problem, you got to look for greatest common factor. All right, and then you look to see if it's a perfect square trinomial, or is it a difference of two squares. So in this one here, you guys, if you're not sure, divide it out. And this one, 75 divided by 3 is 25. So it's 3 times x squared minus 25. And now I can factor that x squared plus 25 to x plus 5, x minus 5. And that's it. Okay. This next one, divide by 4. So we get 4 times x squared. 64 divided by 4 is 16. And then, of course, this is a difference of two squares as well. So it's x plus 4, x minus 4. Okay. I'm going to take a 2 out of each of these. So I got 2 times x squared minus 8x plus 12. So it's x, and then it's minus minus. And what times what is 12? Well, you could do 3 and 4, but 3 plus 4 is not 8. But we can do 6 and 2. 6 plus 2 is 8. But of course, they're both negative. So that's your answer. Okay. Divide each of these by 5. So we get just x squared plus 7x plus 6. And then we factor this. So it's x and x. Multiplies to give you 6 and adds to give you 7. 6 and 1. They're both positive, by the way. So it's 6 and 1. 6 times 1 is 6, and 6 plus 1 is 7. Okay? If you have a negative in front, math fans, you want to factor the negative out. So it's negative 2. They're both even numbers, and that actually helps to figure out what the greatest common factor is because they're both even numbers. At least you could take a 2 out. So in this case, I'm taking a negative 2, and I wind up getting x squared minus 49. So you get x plus 7 and x minus 7. Okay? What goes into all these? Actually, 8 goes into every term. So we get 8, and then parentheses x squared minus 3x minus 10. So that factors to x, basically 5 and 2, so negative 5 and positive 2. Because negative, it's negative because for 5 because this one's negative. The number is negative, so the bigger number's got to be also negative. And of course, they're both they're opposite signs because it's got to multiply to give you negative 10, which means they have to be opposite signs. Okay, and this one is going to be divided all sides by 3. So you get 3x squared plus 6x plus 9. And what multiplies to give you 9? Well, first of all, it's plus plus. And then the answer for this one is 3 and 3, because 3 plus 3 is 6. Okay? And the last one, it's kind of confusing a little bit, but it's a difference of 2 squares, because that's a perfect square, that's a perfect square, that's an even number, and there's a minus sign between them. Okay, so if I do that, well, the first thing I'm going to do is I got to take greatest common factor out. So let me just do this on top. Do you guys agree I can take a 4 out of here? So if I take a 4 out of here, I get 25 minus x to the 6th. Okay, always look to see if you can do that. So then my next line is actually a 4 times square root of 25 is 5. Square root of x to the 6th is x cubed. Plus and minus, and that's your answer. Now kids sometimes do this. They switch this around. And 4, and then you get x to the 6th minus 25. That's actually not right. Okay? You need to do it as 25 minus x squared. That's important. Okay? Because it's just look at the number. I mean, don't switch around. This is the numbers first, so put the number first. Okay? So this is your answer. All right. Anyway, that's it, math fans. At least it's really not difficult. It's just literally doing greatest common factor first and then factoring it, like I said, with difference of 2 squares or as a trinomial. Okay? That's it, math fans. Have an outstanding day. Adios. Goodbye.